Have you ever found yourself waiting for the sun to break through the clouds, waiting for that perfect day when the light is just right, for the warmth of an external validation to finally touch your skin, for the conditions to be perfect for you to finally bloom? We spend so much of our lives looking to the sky, hoping for a forecast of approval, for the climate of circumstance to change in our favor. We position ourselves as flowers in a vast field, turning our faces upward, our growth entirely dependent on a sun we cannot control. But what if we have been looking in the wrong direction for our light? What if the most enduring, the most radiant source of warmth and energy is not above us? But within us, the most liberating truth you will ever discover is this: you have to generate your own sun. You are not a flower, passive and pleading. You are a star, a furnace, a source of light and heat in your own right. This is not a metaphor for blind optimism. It is a call to profound internal engineering. It is about building your own reactor core, a resilient, renewable source of energy that powers you from within, regardless of the weather outside. How do you generate this sun? You generate it with the fuel of your own choices. Every time you choose curiosity over cynicism, you create a spark. Every time you choose compassion for yourself and for others, you generate warmth. Every time you choose to create something, a sentence, a melody, a moment of connection, you are conducting nuclear fusion in your soul. You generate it by stoking the fires of your own interests, by reading what fascinates you, by following a question that has no practical answer, by protecting the fragile embers of your wonder from the winds of apathy and busyness. And you generate it, perhaps most importantly, by learning to be your own source of warmth on the coldest days. When the world feels gray and indifferent, you must learn to wrap yourself in your own approval, to validate your own existence, to be the one who whispers, "I am here, and that is enough." This does not mean you will never feel cold. It means you will never truly freeze. It means you are no longer a hostage to the forecast of other people's moods, the seasons of success and failure, the long winters of doubt. When you generate your own sun, you are not just warming yourself. You become a beacon. Your light becomes a compass for others who are still lost in the dark. Your steady glow gives them permission to kindle their own. So I ask you to look inward, to that deep, quiet space within you where your primordial energy simmers. Stop waiting for a sunrise that is on someone else's schedule. Stop begging for borrowed light. It is time to ignite your own core, to tend to your own fires, to become the source, not the subject, of your own warmth and illumination. Generate your own sun and watch not just how you grow, but how you light up the world around you. We are culturally conditioned to operate on a model of external validation, a paradigm where our sense of worth, our permission to proceed, and our very energy are contingent on sources outside of ourselves. We position ourselves as delicate flora in a vast ecosystem, our faces perpetually tilted upward, waiting for the sun of approval to shine upon us. This sun takes many forms: the praise of a superior, the validation of a parent, the likes and shares on a social media post, the achievement of a societal milestone, or simply a stretch of trouble-free circumstances. We believe that when this external light is bright and warm, we will finally unfurl our petals and grow. When it is obscured by clouds of criticism, rejection, or misfortune, we wilt, believing our growth has been thwarted by forces beyond our control. This model makes us fundamentally passive, turning us into hostages to the ever-changing weather of other people's opinions and the unpredictable climate of life's events. Our inner state becomes a mere reflection of our external conditions. A critical comment can plunge our entire inner world into a deep winter. A failed project feels like an eternal night. We surrender our emotional thermostat to the world, and then we wonder why we are so often cold. The fundamental flaw in this approach is that it cedes sovereignty over our most precious resource, our own spirit, to the unpredictable and often indifferent external world. We are waiting for a sunrise that is on someone else's schedule, for a light that may never come, or that may vanish just when we need it most. This desperate search for an external sun is a recipe for perpetual anxiety and fragility. It is the root of the feeling that we are never quite enough, that we are perpetually one approval away from being whole. The liberation begins with the radical recognition that this entire model is backwards. The true, sustainable source of light cannot be found in the sky. It must be engineered within. You are not a flower. You are the gardener, the engineer, and the power plant all at once. You possess, within the core of your being, the capacity to become your own source of radiant, thermal energy. This is not a denial of the value of external warmth. The kindness of others and happy circumstances are wonderful, but they must be seen as supplements to your own power grid, not its primary source. When you make the shift from seeking light to generating it, you undergo a profound transformation in your relationship with the world. You are no longer a supplicant, hoping the universe will provide. You become a creator responsible for your own climate. This internal sun is not subject to clouds or the turning of the earth. It can be stoked in the middle of the night, sustained through periods of external darkness, and relied upon when all other sources of warmth have failed. It is the difference between living in a house powered by a fragile connection to a distant grid that frequently fails, and building your own resilient, renewable energy source in the basement. One leaves you in the dark at the mercy of the elements. The other guarantees you will always have light, because you have learned how to create it yourself. The most profound transformation in your life will begin not with a change in your circumstances, but with a radical shift in your identity. We are taught to see ourselves as part of an ecosystem occupying a specific passive role. In this view, you are the flower, beautiful, perhaps, but ultimately dependent. Your growth is conditional, your blooming contingent upon the sunlight of external approval, the rainfall of opportunity, and the fertile soil of perfect conditions. This identity, while seemingly humble, is one of profound powerlessness. It places the authority for your vitality in the hands of a universe that is often indifferent and always changing. To believe you are a flower is to live at the mercy of the weather. The revolutionary truth you must embrace is that this identity is a limitation. You are not the flower, you are the sun. This is not a poetic metaphor but a functional reality. A flower reacts, a sun generates. A flower consumes, a sun provides. A flower is temporary and seasonal. A sun is a constant, enduring source of energy. When you internalize this new identity, every aspect of your being recalibrates. Your fundamental purpose shifts from seeking energy to emitting it. You stop asking, "What can I get from this situation to make me feel better?" and start asking, "What light and warmth can I bring to this situation?" This reframes your entire existence from one of lack to one of abundance. The challenges do not disappear, but your relationship to them transforms entirely. A cloud passing in front of the sun does not extinguish it. The sun continues to burn, unwavering, knowing the cloud is temporary. Similarly, when you operate from the identity of the sun, criticism, rejection, and failure become like passing clouds. They may obscure you from others' view for a time, but they cannot diminish your core energy. Your light is not dependent on being seen. It is inherent to your nature. This identity is the bedrock of true resilience. A flower battered by a storm is broken, but a storm has no effect on the sun 100 million miles away. When you know yourself to be the source, you can endure any temporary weather pattern. You understand that your value is not determined by the storms that pass over you, but by the unwavering nuclear fusion at your core. This is not about arrogance, it is about physics. It is about recognizing the sheer power of your own consciousness, your creativity, and your capacity for love and action. You are not a passive organism waiting to be fed. You are a celestial body, a powerhouse of immense. The instruction to generate your own sun can feel abstract, a beautiful but impractical notion, yet it translates into a tangible and deliberate process of internal engineering. This is not about wishful thinking or a sudden burst of inspiration. It is about the conscious, daily combustion of specific fuels to power your personal reactor. The first and most crucial fuel is choice. Every moment presents a micro-opportunity to generate a spark of light or to succumb to the cold. When you choose curiosity in the face of boredom, you create intellectual light. When you choose compassion in response to anger, you generate emotional warmth. When you choose to act with integrity despite temptation, you produce a steady moral heat. These are not passive reactions, they are active decisions to convert a negative potential into a positive energy output. Your reactor also requires the stoking of your own interests. In a world that demands efficiency and practicality, we often let our personal fascinations, the questions with no monetary answer, the hobbies that will never be careers, the books that are purely for joy, fade into embers. But these are not frivolous. They are the fissile material of your soul. The time spent following a random thread of curiosity, learning a skill for the sheer pleasure of it, or protecting a moment of quiet wonder is not wasted. It is the essential process of enriching your core, of ensuring you have a critical mass of internal engagement that can sustain a chain reaction of creativity and purpose. Furthermore, this generation requires you to become your own primary source of warmth. We are taught to seek comfort from others, to have our wounds bandaged by external affirmation, but the most resilient form of warmth is self-generated. This is the practice of self-validation. It is the internal whisper that says, "My existence is enough," even when you have not achieved anything notable. It is the ability to sit with your own disappointment and offer yourself the same understanding you would offer a dear friend. It is the discipline of turning your attention inward to acknowledge your own efforts, to celebrate your own small victories, and to provide your own encouragement. This is not about building walls against the world, but about ensuring you are never left shivering when the world is temporarily absent or cruel. You learn to light a fire in your own hearth. This process of generation is active, not passive. It is a commitment to fueling your own being with the choices you make, the interests you cultivate, and the validation you provide yourself. It is the daily, deliberate work of tending to your inner furnace, ensuring that its light is not a flickering candle at the mercy of every draught, but a sustained and brilliant star powered from within. The ultimate test of your inner power is not how you shine on the bright, clear days, but how you sustain your warmth when the world turns cold. The true purpose of generating your own sun is to achieve a state of emotional and spiritual self-sufficiency that makes you immune to the freezing temperatures of external circumstance. This is the practice of becoming your own primary source of warmth. For too long, we have been taught to outsource our comfort. We seek validation from others to feel worthy. We rely on success to feel significant, and we depend on perfect conditions to feel at peace. This is like relying on a distant power plant for your heat, never knowing when a downed line might leave you in the cold. When the approval doesn't come, the success falters, or the conditions crumble. We are left shivering, our vitality frozen by events beyond our control. To generate your own sun is to build a fireplace within your own home. It is to learn the art of self-validation. This is not an act of arrogance or self-deception. It is the profound and humble work of being the first and most reliable witness to your own existence. It is the internal whisper that says, "I see your effort, and it is enough," when no one else is watching. It is the ability to sit with your own failure and offer yourself the same compassionate understanding you would freely give to a struggling friend. It is the quiet celebration of your own progress, no matter how small or unrecognized by the world. This self-warmth is what allows you to endure the long winters of doubt, the cold fronts of criticism, and the sudden frost of rejection. When you are the source of your own warmth, these external conditions lose their power to define your internal climate. A critical comment becomes a chill breeze that passes through, but it cannot extinguish the steady fire burning in your hearth. A professional setback is a cold snap, but it cannot freeze the deep geothermal energy of your core self-worth. This does not mean you become impervious to feeling pain or disappointment. It means you are no longer paralyzed by it. You have a reliable mechanism for thawing your own spirit. You know how to wrap yourself in the blanket of your own acceptance. You can generate the heat needed to melt the ice of fear and get moving again. This self-sufficiency is the bedrock of resilience. It transforms you from a victim of the weather into a stable, life-sustaining force in your own right. The world will always have its seasons, periods of growth and periods of hibernation, times of sunshine and times of storm. But when you have mastered the art of generating your own warmth, you are no longer anxiously checking the forecast. You know with unshakable certainty that no matter how long or harsh the winter, you possess the resources and the skill to keep your own core temperature steady, to survive, and to wait patiently for the inevitable return of the external spring, not because you need it to live, but because you can now appreciate its beauty without depending on it for your survival. The most profound impact of generating your own light is that it ceases to be a purely private endeavor and becomes a public utility. When you make the fundamental shift from seeking external light to becoming a source of it, you undergo a transformation that ripples far beyond the boundaries of your own life. You are no longer just a beneficiary of your own inner work, you become a benefactor. Your internal sun does not shine for you alone. Its light spills over, illuminating the path for others who are still navigating in the dark. Your steady, self-generated glow becomes a living testament to a different way of being. For those who are lost, accustomed only to the flickering and unreliable light of external validation, your consistent radiance becomes a beacon. It does not shout, it simply shines. It demonstrates, through your very presence, that it is possible to be warm even when the world is cold, to be luminous even in the midst of shadows. This is not about preaching or proselytizing. It is about the silent, powerful language of embodied truth. When someone sees you standing firm in your own worth, not because of your title or your possessions, but because of an unshakable inner authority, it gives them permission to question their own dependence on external sources. Your light becomes a compass, not by pointing the way, but by being a fixed point of reference in a chaotic sky. Others can calibrate their own bearings by your consistent presence. Furthermore, your warmth creates a micro-climate around you. Just as a sun-warmed stone continues to radiate heat after sunset, your self-generated energy raises the ambient temperature in your relationships, your family, and your community. You bring a warmth to your interactions that is not needy or demanding, but generous and stable. You become someone others can draw near to without fear of draining you, because your energy is renewable and sourced from within. You offer not the frantic heat of a bonfire that will soon burn out, but the reliable, lasting warmth of a hearth. This role of being a beacon is the ultimate consequence and responsibility of your personal work. It moves your journey from self-improvement to service. The light you cultivate internally is not meant to be hidden under a basket of humility. It is meant to be placed on a stand so that it can guide others home to themselves. In a world that often feels increasingly dark and cold, your decision to generate your own sun is a radical act of leadership. It is a quiet rebellion against the culture of complaint and victimhood. It proves that we are not powerless against the gloom, that each of us holds the latent capacity to kindle our own fires and in doing so, to collectively dispel the darkness. Your light gives others the courage to strike their own match, to fan their own embers, and to finally understand that the dawn they have been waiting for has been within them all along.